Move to Canada, it's our time.
Welcome to our comprehensive guide on how to apply for Canadian citizenship online. Before we dive into the application steps, I want to start with some crucial tips. Why am I highlighting these at the beginning? Because these are the most important reminders that will ensure you don't miss any notifications from IRCC, which could delay or even cause your citizenship application to be refused.
First, during the application, IRCC will send all correspondence, including personal information and notifications, directly to your email. Typically, you'll receive notifications such as interview or oath ceremony invitations a week in advance. However, sometimes these may arrive less than a week before, and in rare cases, just a day in advance. It's crucial to check your email daily. Second, any emails from IRCC will end in @cic.gc.ca, @canada.ca, or @international.gc.ca. Make sure to add these to your safe senders list in your email program and regularly check your junk mail folder to ensure you don't miss important communications. If IRCC finds that your email address is inactive, they will switch to communicating with you by regular mail. It's essential to keep your mailing address up to date. If you move during the application process, promptly notify IRCC of your new address. Third, while email is the primary method of communication, some notifications may still be sent via regular mail. Make sure to regularly check your physical mailbox as well.
Now, let's get started with the application process. Whether you're taking this significant step on your own or embarking on this journey as a family, including your minor children, we've got you covered with all the latest updates and essential information. Stay tuned as we guide you step by step, from gathering your documents to submitting your application online. We'll address some of the most common questions you may have, including how to verify if your language proof is accepted by IRCC, how to provide explanations for missing bio pages of required passports, gaps between passports, and inability to submit a police certificate with your application, as well as how to do physical presence calculation. But that's not all. We will also delve into what comes next: preparing for the citizenship test, navigating the online test process, acing your citizenship interview, and finally, taking the citizenship oath. Plus, we'll share essential tips to avoid common mistakes that might delay your application. Get ready for a detailed journey to becoming a Canadian citizen with all the tools and tips you need to succeed.
Step 1. Gather your documents.
First, we will discuss the required documents for adult applicants. Later in this video, we will also discuss the necessary documents for adding minors to your application, covering various scenarios.
1. Digital citizenship photo.
You'll need to upload a digital photo that was taken within the last 6 months by a commercial photographer. The photo can either be in digital format directly from the photographer or a printed photo that you've scanned using a scanner or a personal device like a laptop, phone, or handheld camera. Just make sure that the photo meets the following specifications: a maximum file size of 4 megabytes, a minimum image size of 420 by 540 pixels, and it should be in JPEG, JPG, or JPEG 2000 format. And remember, don't change the digital photo in any way, except to meet these file size and format requirements.
Personal identification.
You must provide 2 pieces of ID. Your ID must be valid, which means not expired, except that you can use an expired permanent resident card. You can choose between your PR card or the bio page of your passport or travel document as your first personal ID. If you choose PR card as first ID, the second ID must be issued by the Canadian government, such as your driver's license, health insurance card, age of majority card, or senior citizen identification card. If you choose passport as first ID, the second ID can be issued by the Canadian or a foreign government. If the ID issued by a foreign government is not in English or French, you must upload notarized translation copy. The ID must have a maximum file size of 4 megabytes and file format of JPG, JPEG, GIF, TIFF, PNG, BMP, or PDF.
Police certificate.
In the past 4 years, if you were in a country other than Canada for 183 days or more in a row since the age of 18, you need to provide the police certificate from that country.
Passport.
You must upload the bio page of all of your passports or travel documents you have held for the last 5 years. The bio page is the page that has your information, for example, name, photo, and date of birth. If your document has more than one bio page, upload them all as one file.
Proof of knowledge of English or French.
If you are between the ages of 18 and 54 on the date you sign your application, you must meet the Canadian Language Benchmarks Level 4 or higher in speaking and listening. This means to become a Canadian citizen, you must show that you have an adequate knowledge of English or French by providing, with your citizenship application, proof that you can speak and listen in English or French at CLB or NCLC Level 4 or higher. There are a number of different documents to show that you meet the language requirement, including the results of an IRCC-approved third-party test, proof from certain government-funded language training programs, proof of completion of secondary or post-secondary education in English or French, in Canada or abroad. Here is the list of all accepted language proofs. Please note that for the IELTS test, only the IELTS General Training Test results are accepted for citizenship applications, not the academic results. Importantly, even if your IELTS General Training Test result is expired, it is still accepted.
Legal name change documents.
If you have legally changed your name within Canada, then you must submit a copy of the change of name document issued by a Canadian province or territory or by the appropriate foreign state authority. The document must show both your previous and new names.
Now that we've covered the required documents for adult applicants, let's move on to the documents needed for children. If you are not applying for children, you can skip ahead to Step 2, paying the application fee. For those applying for minors, there are two types of citizenship applications, 5-1 and 5-2. Use 5-2 application if you're applying for a minor who has a Canadian parent or a parent who's applying for citizenship at the same time. To apply for the minor, you must be the minor's parent or legal guardian. If you're the minor's parent, you must be their biological or adoptive parent.
Important note: step-parents cannot apply for the child under this application type unless they have legally adopted the child.
Use 5-1 application if you're applying for a minor who doesn't have a Canadian parent or a parent who's applying for citizenship at the same time. To apply for the minor, you must either have legal custody of the minor or be authorized to act on their behalf. You are required to provide a copy of a document that verifies your relationship with the minor. For example, if you are the child's parent, you can provide the child's birth certificate. Additionally, you do not need to be a Canadian citizen to apply. If you're a minor who doesn't have someone who can apply for you, you can apply online on your own. For the 5-2 application, here are the required documents.
1 digital citizenship photo, the child's birth certificate or adoption order. The bio page from all passports or travel documents held in the last 5 years. 2 pieces of identification. If you are a Canadian citizen applying for your child, you must provide proof of your Canadian citizenship, which may include your citizenship card, citizenship certificate, or Canadian passport. If you are a legal guardian applying on behalf of the child, you must provide legal documentation proving guardianship. And a legal name change document if the child has legally changed their name within Canada.
For the 5-1 application, the required documents are slightly different. Let's take a look at the list of documents you'll need.
1 digital citizenship photo, the child's birth certificate or adoption order. Color photocopies of all pages of all passports or travel documents held in the last 5 years. 2 pieces of identification. A legal name change document if the child has legally changed their name within Canada. For minors under 14, photocopy of all official education records, which may include report cards, transcripts, or attendance records. Photocopy of proof you are the person with custody of the minor or are legally empowered to act on the minor's behalf, which may include a birth certificate listing you as the parent, adoption order, documents issued by the provincial or territorial courts granting custodial guardianship, or order of permanent guardianship.
We have 2 separate videos detailing the 5-1 and 5-2 minor applications. You can find the links to these videos in the description below.
Now you've prepared all the required documents. Let's go to Step 2, pay the application fee. Go to www.canada.ca. Click Immigration and Citizenship. Click Pay your fees. Choose the country you are paying from. Select Citizenship. Select Adult or Minor. Click Get Payment Instructions. Click Pay My Fees Online. Go to Option 2. Select Citizenship. Click Continue. The application fee is $630 for adults and $100 for minors. Always enter 1 for the quantity and pay for one person each time, because even if you are applying as a group with family members, each person must create their own citizenship application account and upload their own receipt of payment. Now click Submit. Then click Login and Pay. If you already have an account, log in here. If you are new here, click Register. Enter your email address here and then click Continue. Create a password and click Continue. Now create your recovery questions and answers. If you forget your password, you will be asked the questions you choose below. If you answer them correctly, you can choose a new password. You can print a copy of recovery questions for your record before you continue. Save as PDF. Now click Continue. You will receive a code in your email. You need this code to activate your account. Now let's check the email. Here is the code. Enter the code here and click Verify and Continue to log in the payment account. Check I have read and understood this disclaimer and click Proceed to Secured Checkout. Enter the credit card information and click Checkout. Your payment has been approved. Click Save to save the receipt to your computer. Here is your receipt.
Step 3. Create an IRCC account.
To apply for Canadian citizenship online, you will need to create an account with IRCC. Note that this account is separate from the payment account, and you are not required to use the same email address for both. Let's go to www.canada.ca. Click Immigration and Citizenship. Click Citizenship. Click Apply for Citizenship. Click Apply Online if you can. Click Apply Online to become a Canadian citizen. Click Create an account. You must agree these terms and conditions. Click Continue to create an account. Enter your email address here and set up a password. Click Create an account. You will receive an email with your verification code. Now let's check the email. Here is the verification code. Enter the code here and click Confirm Code. Let's go to
Step 4. Fill in the forms and submit the application online.
Now let's sign in the account to fill in the online form. Upload the required documents and submit the application. If you want to apply as a family or a group, you should create a separate application for each member of your family or group and submit all the applications within 60 days. If you don't submit all of them within 60 days, your account will be permanently deleted. If you wish to apply again, you must create a new account. You can create one application at a time. Now let's start creating an application. If you are applying with minors, you can start creating an adult application and add minor applications later. If you are applying just for minors, you can start by creating one minor application. As we mentioned earlier, there are 2 types of minor applications. Make sure you pick the right one. Now let's start creating an adult application for yourself. Enter your last name and first name. Include your middle name if applicable. Enter your date of birth. Click Create Application. Click Start. The application form is divided into several tabs. You are not required to complete all sections at once. Again, you have 60 days to submit your application. You may begin with any section you prefer and do not need to fill out the sections in a specific order. Let's click Provide Details and enter personal information first. Do you have special needs requiring accommodation? Click the Help button. You will see what may be included. If you have these special needs, you can select Yes. Now let's select No here. Now enter the UCI. You can find your UCI on your PR card. For the UCI, please omit any dashes. Have you changed your name since becoming a permanent resident? If your answer is yes, you need to enter your new legal name and submit additional document. If you have changed your name within Canada, you must submit a copy of the change of name document issued by a Canadian province. You should read the information here carefully to make sure you submit the proper document. If your document is not in English or French, you must upload some supporting documents. We can see the requirements of the supporting documents here. Also, you need to use the right file size and format. Click Add File to upload your name change certificate. Have you ever used any other name? Here it means if you have ever used another name in any legal capacity or in any of your documents. They are not asking about a nickname from your grandparents. If you have used any, such as your maiden name, you can enter here and select the reason you used it, and then click Save Name. If you made any mistakes, you can edit it or delete it. Now select your gender. Do you need to change your gender for your citizenship application? If you need to change the gender on your citizenship certificate, you need to download the request for a change of sex or gender identifier form, complete it, and upload it here. If you don't need to change your gender, select No. Enter your height. Select your eye color. Your date of birth has been previously entered. If there are any errors, you may edit it here. If you have corrected your date of birth on your immigration documents or legally changed it since coming to Canada, you must submit proofs. Read this page carefully. If you haven't changed your date of birth, select No. If you need to correct your date of birth for your citizenship application, you must submit additional documents. You cannot request a change in your date of birth after your citizenship application has been submitted. Select No if you don't need to change your date of birth. Enter the city and the country of birth. Select your marital status. If you have provided all the required information on this page, you will see this page is ready. If any information is missing, you will see Check if page is ready. You can click it to find out where the errors are. Okay, let's click Next. This page is about your contact information. Again, you can sign out of the application at any time and sign back in to continue within 60 days. Here, you can see how many days remain for you to submit the application. Now click Continue. Search for the country of your home address. Begin typing your address in this field, and it will automatically search for and complete it with the postal code. If your mailing address is different from your home address, you can provide your mailing address here. If you have hired someone to represent you and communicate with IRCC on your behalf, you may provide your representative's mailing address. We will discuss this in more detail later. Again, it's really important to check your email and your regular mailbox every day. IRCC will send essential updates, notifications, and documents through these methods. Ensuring you're consistently monitoring both can prevent any delays or missed communications about your application. If your mailing address is the same as your home address, select Yes. Now select the type of your phone number and enter the number. If someone is helping you to fill out this application, you need to provide the information here. This may be a person, company, or organization. If you're paying a person to represent or advise you, that person must be a member in good standing of a law society or governing body, which means that person must be a member of the College of Immigration and Citizenship Consultants, Canadian Provincial or Territorial Law Society, the Chambre des Notaires du Québec, or the Law Society of Ontario if that person is a paralegal in Ontario. If they are not members in good standing, you should not use their services. You can check online to see if a person is a member in good standing. Please note that if a friend or a family member is helping you to fill out this application and you are not paying them, you still need to provide that person's information. Do Do you want to appoint a representative to communicate and conduct business with IRCC on your behalf? If you want IRCC to contact you directly during the application process, select No. However, if you might be out of Canada after submitting the application and are concerned you might miss crucial notifications like interview or oath ceremony invitations, it's advisable to appoint a representative. This is especially important if you are not sure you can check your email or mailing address daily. To appoint a representative to communicate with IRCC on your behalf, select Yes. Download the latest version of the use of a representative form, IMM 5476. Complete it, and then upload it here. Your representative's mailing address and email will be listed on the IMM 5476 form, and IRCC will send notifications and documents to your representative's email or mailing address instead of yours. The representative can be a family member, a friend, a lawyer, or an immigration or citizenship consultant. They can be paid or unpaid. If they're paid, they must be a member in good standing of a law society or governing body. You don't have to upload IMM 5476 if your representative only helps you fill out the application but won't conduct business on your behalf after submission. In that case, IRCC will continue to contact you directly. Now this page is ready. Click Next. Upload the citizenship photo you've prepared. Enter the information of the photographer and the date the photo was taken. Upload the 2 pieces of ID you've prepared. Click Next. Now list all addresses inside and outside of Canada. Here address means your residential address. If you were residing, working, or studying outside Canada, you must list all of your foreign addresses, but you don't need to include addresses of family, friends, hotels, or resorts where you stayed while on vacation. Your address history should cover the 5-year eligibility period, which means 5 years immediately before the date you sign and submit your application. Don't leave any gaps during this period. You can start with your current home address. Click Save Address. Now enter your previous addresses. Now we've completed the address history. In the past 4 years, were you in a country or territory other than Canada for 183 days or more in a row? If you are not, select No. But if your answer is yes, you need to provide a police certificate from each country other than Canada if you were there in the past 4 years for 183 days or more in a row since the age of 18. The police certificate must be issued after the last time you were in that country or territory, or no more than 6 months before the date you sign your citizenship application. Now let's enter the country. Will you provide a police certificate? If you answer yes, you can upload your police certificate here. If you can't provide the police certificate, you need to explain why. And then click Save Country. If you were in your country of origin immediately before becoming a permanent resident of Canada, you are not required to provide a police certificate from that country for that period, even if your stay exceeded 183 consecutive days within the last 4 years. For example, let's say you moved to Canada from Germany and became a permanent resident on June 1st, 2021. Before moving, you had been living continuously in Germany right up until you came to Canada. If you submit your citizenship application on October 3rd, 2024, the period from October 3rd, 2020 to June 1st, 2021, where you lived in Germany for more than 180 consecutive days, does not require a police certificate. This is because you were in your country of origin immediately before becoming a permanent resident. In that case, enter Germany as your country, select No for the question, will you provide a police certificate, and provide an explanation. Now let's move on to income taxes. You may need to file taxes in Canada for at least 3 years during the 5 years right before the date you apply. Do you have a social insurance number? Yes. Enter your 9-digit SIN number. You need to complete this chart in full even if you didn't live in Canada for part of your 5-year eligibility period. For example, you came to Canada and became a permanent resident in 2020. You're not required to file the tax return for 2019. Simply select No for both questions. Here, by selecting Yes, you are authoring IRCC to request your income tax information and filing history from CRA. If you select No, then you can't submit your application. So you have to select Yes. Do you currently, or have you ever held immigration or citizenship status in a country or territory other than Canada? This includes your country of birth. Select Yes. Enter your home country here. If you became a citizen of your home country since birth, just enter your date of birth here. If you are still a citizen of your home country, check Not Applicable and then select Citizen for status and Save Status. If you are a dual citizen, let's say you are a dual citizen of your home country and Italy, enter the date you became an Italian citizen. Check Not Applicable for End Date and click Save Status. If you have ever held status in any country, such as a student visa or work permit, you need to add them all here. Have you ever held travel documents or passports during your 5-year eligibility period? List all of your travel documents or passports covering your 5-year eligibility period. Let's enter the information of the current passport. Do you have the bio page? Select Yes, and then upload the bio page of your passport. Click Save Document. If your current passport doesn't cover your 5-year eligibility period, you need to list your previous passport too. If you don't have one, you need to provide an explanation. Now let's say you have an old passport. Enter the information here. Again, upload the bio page here. If you don't have the bio page of your old passport, you need to provide an explanation and then click Save Document. Click Check if page is ready. We can find the errors here. There is a time gap between these two passports. You need to provide an explanation here. Click Check if page is ready. There is another error. There is a time gap in your address history. You need to enter another address to fill this gap or update your entry for these dates. Now this page is ready. Click Next. This page is about your work and education history in the past 5 years. You must list all your work and study history, including English or French language training inside or outside Canada, for the 5-year eligibility period. Don't leave any gaps during this period. Start with the most recent employment or education. Enter the start year and the month. Check, this is my current occupation or activity. Enter your occupation, your employer, country, and the address of your employer. Click Save Activity. Now you can add another activity. Save Activity. Click Check if page is ready. We can see there is time gap here. Let's enter another activity for this period. Enter unemployed here. If you did not have an employer or attend an educational institution, check not applicable. Here you can just enter your home address during that period. Now, this page is ready. Click Next. To be eligible to become a Canadian citizen, you can't be prohibited under the Citizenship Act. You can read the situations that prevent you from becoming a Canadian citizen. You should answer no to all these questions. You might not become a citizen if your answer is yes to any of these questions. Now check here and click Next. If you are between the ages of 18 and 54, you're required to upload your language proof here. Select the proof of language you'll submit. Again, for IELTS exam, only the general training test is accepted. The academic test is not. Additionally, expired test results are accepted for citizenship applications. Let's upload the IELTS test result here. If you are unsure whether your language proof is accepted by IRCC, click here to check. If you are over 55, you do not need to provide language proof. When this screen appears, simply check here and click Next. To apply for Canadian citizenship, you must be in Canada at least 1,095 days, or 3 years, during the eligibility period. Your eligibility period is 5 years before the date you sign your application, which means, when calculating your time in Canada, only the 5 years immediately before the date you sign your application are taken into account. During your 5-year eligibility period, did you live outside of Canada as a Crown servant? Select No. During your 5-year eligibility period, did you live outside of Canada as a family member of a Crown servant? Select No. Now enter the date you became a permanent resident. You can find this information on the back of your PR card. During your 5-year eligibility period, did you spend time serving a sentence? Time spent in prison, on parole, or on probation won't count toward your physical presence. During your 5-year eligibility period, did you leave Canada for any reason? If so, you must list all your time away from Canada, including travel for work or vacation. You must declare day trips to the United States, even if you come back the same day. Now let's add an absence. Enter the country, the date you left Canada, and the date you returned to Canada. Did you visit more than one country during this time? No. Now, select the reason for your visit. Click Save. Now you can add another absence. If you visited more than one country during the same period, just enter the country where you spent the most time. Then, in the description, list the other countries you visited in the order you went to them, along with the reason for your trip. If you have listed all your trips, click Calculate My Physical Presence. Here you can see that you have been physically present in Canada for more than 1,095 days. You can edit physical presence if you've made any mistakes. Now click Calculate My Physical Presence again. Here you can see that you haven't spent enough time in Canada. You cannot submit your application with less than 1,095 days of physical presence in Canada. The calculator will tell you when you will be eligible to apply. You have to wait until this date to meet the requirement to submit the application, assuming that nothing else changes and you remain in Canada. Now suppose you became a permanent resident less than 5 years ago, and you were an authorized temporary resident before obtaining PR status. Let's go through the calculation again. During your 5-year eligibility period, did you have a valid temporary resident status before becoming a permanent resident? Temporary residents include students, foreign workers, and visitors, such as tourists. For example, let's say you initially came to Canada as an international student and obtained a post-graduation work permit after graduating. You should list both statuses here. Click Add Temporary Residence Status. Choose International Student and enter the date you received your initial study permit and the expiry date of the study permit. If you renewed your study permit, select Yes. Then enter the date you submitted the renewal application and the expiry date of the new permit. If you did not renew your study permit, but instead applied for a post-graduation work permit before your study permit expired, select No here. Now add your status as a work permit holder. You should not enter the expiry date on your work permit if it extends beyond the date you became a permanent resident, as your foreign worker status actually expired before the date you obtained PR status. During your 5-year eligibility period, did you have a valid protected person status before becoming a permanent resident? You can check the definition of a protected person here.
Important notice for former refugee claimants or PRRA applicants. If you were issued a work permit or study permit while your refugee claim or pre-removal risk assessment was being assessed, these documents did not grant you temporary resident status. You cannot use this period of time in your physical presence calculation. If you are claiming time as a protected person, the only time allowed is the time from when you received a positive protected person decision on your refugee claim or PRRA application, until the day before you became a permanent resident. You cannot use any time spent in Canada without the authorized status of temporary resident, protected person or permanent resident towards your physical presence calculation.
Select No if you didn't have a valid protected person status. Now list all your absences. As you can see, half of the time you spent in Canada as a temporary resident was taken into account, and only 5 years immediately before you submit the application will be included in the calculation. If you don't understand the calculation, you can check the explanation here. Each day you were in Canada as an authorized temporary resident or a protected person before you became a permanent resident counts as half a day up to a maximum of 365 days. Each day you were in Canada after you became a permanent resident counts as 1 day. So, you must include at least 730 days, or 2 years, as a permanent resident. Now we've completed the calculation. Click Next. If you want to receive a congratulatory letter from your Member of Parliament, select Yes to authorize IRCC to forward your personal information to your Member of Parliament. You can also select No. Your answer will not affect your citizenship application. Select either Yes or No to indicate whether or not you authorize IRCC to provide the following information to Elections Canada to be added to the National Register of Electors. Again, your answer will not affect your citizenship application. You will get your citizenship certificate once your application has been approved. This document serves as proof of your Canadian citizenship. It can be used to apply for a Canadian passport. You have the option of receiving the certificate in paper or electronically. Now click Next. This part is optional. You can upload any additional documents or information you want IRCC to review. If you don't have anything to upload, simply click Pay Fee. Now, you can upload the payment receipt you've already prepared. If you haven't paid the fee yet, click Pay your application fee online. In the previous section of this video, we showed how to pay the application fee online. Let's go ahead and upload the receipt for the payment now. Now click Review and Sign. Before you submit the application, make sure to review every section of the application. If any required information is missing, it will be indicated here. Click on the section to view the missing information or errors. Correct all the errors. Once you have reviewed the entire application, click Continue. Now you can sign your online application by providing your name and the city where you will submit the application. Click Private Notice and click Sign and Continue. Your application was signed successfully. You can download a copy of your application here. If you are invited to a citizenship interview, you can review this document to check what you have filled in and submitted with your application before attending the interview. Your application has not been submitted yet. Click back to your account. You can view your application, but at this stage, you are no longer able to make changes. If you believe you've made a mistake, you can delete the application and start over. If you want to apply together with your children, click Create an Application. As mentioned earlier, there are 2 types of applications for minors. Ensure you select the correct type. In your case, if you are applying for Canadian citizenship along with your children, you should choose the 5-2 option. If you are applying alone and ready to submit, click Submit Application.
Group application.
If you want to apply as a group, you can invite other adults to join your application. All applications in the group will be processed together. The adults you invite can be family members or unrelated to you, but they cannot be part of another group application. They will have the option to accept or decline your invitation. If someone is currently in another group, you can only invite them after they leave that group. Now enter their email address. Now select a security question. The other person must answer this security question to apply with you. Now click Send Invitation. Once you've sent out all invitations, you can return to your account to submit your application. Your application has now been submitted.
Those who receive your invitation must create their own accounts, complete their applications, upload the required documents, perform the physical presence calculation, review, sign, and submit their applications, just as you have done.
After you have submitted your application, IRCC will check if your application is complete. If it's complete, you will receive your Acknowledgement of Receipt letter, AOR, by email. If your application is not complete, your application will be returned and you have to resubmit the application. If you applied with your group and any one of the applications is incomplete, all applications will be returned and you or your group has to resubmit the application. Soon after receiving your AOR, typically within 2 weeks, you will receive an email invitation to check your application status online. Simply click the link provided to create your tracker account. Enter your UCI and application number, which can be found on your AOR letter. For the UCI, please omit any dashes. Select the checkbox and click Next. You will receive a verification code by email. Enter the code here and set a password. Now you've created the tracker account. Log in your account and you can check your application status, any next steps you need to take, the progress of your application, and a timeline of your citizenship application history. While your application is in process, you must tell IRCC if you change your address, email address, or telephone number. If you do not notify IRCC of any change in your contact information and they cannot reach you, your application could be abandoned or closed. If you are between 18 and 54 years old on the day you sign your application, you will receive an invitation to take the Citizenship Knowledge Test. You cannot take the test without this invitation. After you receive the invitation, you have 30 calendar days to complete the test. Within this 30-day period, you have up to 3 chances to pass the test. You need to answer at least 15 out of 20 questions correctly to pass. If you fail the test the first time, you have 2 more chances to pass it. If you need to reschedule your test, contact the email provided in the rescheduling section of your test invitation. In your email, include a detailed explanation of why you need to reschedule, your application number, and your UCI. To prepare for the citizenship test, study the official guide, Discover Canada, and practice with our questions. We have a video featuring 414 real questions from past tests to help you prepare for your Canadian citizenship test. Mastering these 414 questions will ensure your success on the Canadian citizenship test. Find the link to the video in the description below. Once you are ready, you can take the online test at any time during the 30-day period, even if you are outside of Canada. Before you begin, ensure you review the online test tutorial and have the required ID and compatible devices ready. You will have 45 minutes to complete the test without the option to stop or pause. After submitting, the result page will immediately display your score. However, this is a temporary score and not your official result. In the coming months, IRCC will review and confirm your official test result and inform you of the next steps. Your test result may be invalidated if IRCC suspects cheating, if you fail to take a photo of your ID, or if a technical issue, such as poor webcam visibility, prevents IRCC from confirming your identity. If technical issues occur during the test, IRCC will contact you regarding the next steps, which may include an interview with a citizenship officer and a retake of the test via video conference. It's crucial to thoroughly review the online test tutorial before starting the test. Ensure you have the appropriate device and understand what to do and what not to do during the test. We have prepared a video explaining every detail of the online test process. Watch it before you start your test to ensure your result will be valid. You can find the link to this video in the description below. During the processing of your application, you may be required to submit additional documents, such as your fingerprints, police certificates, or proof of residency requirements, including travel histories from other countries. After passing the test, you may be required to visit a local citizenship office for an interview. During this interview, a citizenship officer will review the original documents you submitted with your application, including passports and travel documents from your 5-year eligibility period. Some interviews may be conducted online, and you may request an online interview even if you were initially invited for an in-person session. Before attending the interview, review the application form you submitted. You may be asked questions about your job history, address history, and most importantly, your travel history. The purpose of the interview is to verify your identity and to check whether you have met the residence requirements for applying for Canadian citizenship. Please note that not all applicants will be required to attend an interview. Some may be invited directly to the citizenship oath ceremony shortly after passing the test. Once a citizenship officer determines that you meet all the requirements for citizenship, you will be invited to the citizenship ceremony. While most applicants will be invited to a video oath ceremony, some may be invited to participate in an in-person ceremony. Adults and children aged 14 or over must go to the citizenship ceremony and take the oath. Children under age 14 don't have to go, but are welcome to. You may request to reschedule the ceremony or opt for a video oath ceremony instead of an in-person one as soon as you receive the oath ceremony invitation, provided you give a reasonable explanation. Taking the oath of citizenship is the final step in becoming a Canadian citizen. After the oath, you will receive your certificate of Canadian citizenship by mail if you opted for a paper certificate. If you chose an e-certificate, it will be available for download following the ceremony. Once you have your citizenship certificate, you can apply for a Canadian passport. We have 2 detailed videos to guide you through the passport application process, one for adults and another for minors. The links to these videos are in the description below.
If you're interested in learning more about Canadian immigration, citizenship, work permit, study permit, and visitor visa, make sure to subscribe to our channel. We regularly update with new and informative videos to ensure you never miss out on any important information. Subscribe now to stay informed.
Cross the border feeling free. New adventures, just you and me. Start afresh by the glistening sea. Life's a treasure, wait and see. Move to Canada, it's our time. Fresh tracks in the winter white. New life underneath the pine will be shining.